Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. I mean, at this point, you have to be an idiot to deny the clear reality sitting right in front of you. Either you're highly unintelligent and just can't process the information, and you're simply falling for the damage control propaganda, or you're just a dishonest Democrat stooge. And boy, are the stooges trying. I mean, they're trying real hard. I've honestly never seen anything like it. After Devon Archer's testimony, the leftist media copium is hitting extreme levels. I guess we could call it the Joe Biden defense. Well, the Joe Biden defense is one of the most pathetic clown shows I think I've ever seen. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so let's first start off with some MSNBC commentary. They seriously want you to believe this. By the way, this is Democrat Representative Dan Goldman speaking.
Could you just, with specifics, tell us these phone calls that were a matter of such discussion yesterday, like what were they about? What would then Vice President Biden say in these conversations? You know, walk us through what happened.
Right. So let's put this in context. Beau Biden got very sick in early 2015. He died in the spring of 2015, which was right in the middle when Devon Archer had his business dealings with Hunter Biden. At that point, Joe Biden and Hunter Biden began to speak every day because they were both devastated by Beau's death. They spoke every day.
So all the phone calls between Hunter Biden and his father, Joe, had nothing to do with any business. It had all to do with Hunter's brother and Joe Biden's son, Beau Biden, who fell extremely sick and passed away in 2015. Yeah, because that's totally believable. Hunter Biden was calling his father during business meetings, not to talk about business, no, but rather just because they were so devastated about the passing of Beau. That is insane. That is clear emotional manipulation. It is a manipulative tactic used to make you feel bad. It's the same tactic that they use with Hunter Biden's substance abuse problem. Actually, this whole story has nothing to do with corruption and everything to do with the father's love. Why would Hunter Biden be calling his father in the middle of business meetings with foreign nationals to talk about Beau? And it's funny because yesterday they were talking about the weather. Oh, you know, Devon Archer and Hunter Biden put Joe on the line just for small talk so they can talk about the clouds. Oh, looks like it's gonna rain today, executive of Burisma. You know, like I usually react in these situations. Do I look stupid to you? Does this say dumbass on my forehead? Because the way this Dan Goldman guy's talking, that's what it feels like. Here's some more copium.
Testified to yesterday completely absolves Joe Biden of any involvement in Hunter Biden's business world. And notwithstanding whatever alleged smoke Chairman Comer says there is, the witness testimony was very clear that Joe Biden was not involved in any of their business dealings. Joe Biden got no benefit. Joe Biden did not change any of his actions for the benefit of his son in any way, shape, or form.
Devon Archer testifying yesterday completely absolves Joe Biden of any involvement in Hunter's businesses. In what universe can a human being utter those words and still be able to sleep at night? It's frankly unbelievable. There is no evidence that Joe Biden was involved whatsoever. Ignore these 4 photos. I guess they were just talking about the weather in all of those 4 photos. Devon Archer testified nothing damning, nothing suggesting that Joe Biden was involved, no, nothing at all. Definitely don't pay attention to Devon Archer's testimony. Nothing to see here, folks. When in reality, Burisma bigwigs and Hunter Biden, quote, called D.C. to resolve issue of Ukrainian prosecutor looking into corruption. This is from Devon Archer's testimony. Hunter Biden's old friend and longtime business partner, Devon Archer, detailed President Joe Biden's involvement in his son's foreign business dealings during 4 hours of testimony Monday before the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability. Whereas Joe Biden told reporters in 2019 while campaigning for the presidency, quote, I have never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings, Archer underscored that the Democratic president spoke to his son and to his son's business partners on numerous occasions. Joe Biden was apparently so critical in Hunter Biden's business schemes, Archer testified, that the then vice president was the brand that his son trafficked in. We also have information regarding that $3.5 million payment from the mayor of Moscow's wife to Hunter's company. I believe it was Rosemont Seneca that received that money. Devon Archer testifies that Joe Biden met with the Moscow mayor's wife in Georgetown, same person who wired $3.5 million to Hunter, and then Joe Biden kept her off sanctions lists. Here's a clip from last year where they refused to answer anything related to Alina Baturina.
Regarding Russia's sanctions, I'm wondering if you could share the reason why President Biden hasn't sanctioned the Russian billionaires Vladimir Yevtushenkov and Elena Baturina. How is he handling the conflict of interest there, given his son was a business associate of these two people? And can you confirm that as sitting vice president, he dined with Baturina in Georgetown?
I'm just not speaking to anything that's related to his son from here. If you want to ask a question about Hunter Biden specifically, I would refer you to his family. And as it relates to any sanctions, I'm not speaking to individual persons that are from Russia.
Of course, refusing to answer because the truth is, Joe Biden met with her. Now, of course, without the actual transcript itself, it's hard to come to a conclusion here, but the idea that Joe Biden has been completely absolved of any wrongdoing or involvement is a total farce. You know, Dan Goldman wants you to believe that Devon Archer's testimony proves that there's no involvement and no link to Joe in these bribery crimes, that there's no evidence, that Devon Archer claimed that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden were never paid millions of dollars. You know, that sounds totally swell, Mr. Dan Goldman. Then can you please explain the $1 million wire transfers from all of the entities involved in these supposed corrupt dealings? You see, it doesn't make sense. Dan Goldman's claiming that the Bidens never received millions of dollars. That's what Devon Archer said. But the Bidens literally received millions upon millions of dollars in nearly 200 bank transfers that were flagged by major banks as suspicious activity. So how can you say something like that, knowing that we have the actual records? I suspect that Dan Goldman, who is a former prosecutor and legal analyst, is essentially being sent to do a media tour to act as Joe Biden's legal defense. That's what's happening. And obviously with these slimy lawyers, we know one thing, that they simply cannot be trusted. There's legal analysts on both sides. There's Dan Goldman, who's saying Joe Biden is squeaky clean, nothing to see here, folks. And then, you know, there's former FBI assistant directors saying this.
You sell access or something of value and you get something back in return, but it's not an express quid pro quo. It's just an understanding. But if you can match up the services within a reasonable period of time with the thing of benefit, in this case $10 million or whatever it is, then you have bribery. You have to have that express quid pro quo. And they were selling access. All you had to do, they do the big setup, and then they put Joe Biden on the phone and just shows that they have access. Here he is. He's on the phone. I just told you, we can do things for you. And there he is. So, I mean, that matches up perfectly. Then you match it up with the prosecutor gets fired. The prosecutor is going after Burisma right within that same time frame. Boy, you're really close to a slam dunk, in my opinion.
That Joe Biden was involved in textbook bribery and that it's a slam dunk case. Fox News legal analyst Jonathan Turley also added in.
Well, what we now know, quite frankly, is that the president has been lying. I mean, he lied during the presidential campaign. He lied as president when he had to have his staff repeat that he had no knowledge, no interaction with these business dealings. That's clearly false. Now, look, you can deny most anything, but the American people are not being fooled. The polls, really indicate that. They see this for what it is. I mean, it is corruption. We have to find out the full story here. I think this is shaping up to be one of the greatest corruption scandals in the history of Washington, and that is saying a lot.
That Joe Biden's business dealings are shaping up to be one of the greatest corruption scandals in the history of Washington. Look, analyze the facts yourself, take a look at all of it, absorb all of the information and all of the evidence, and make the decision yourself. Where I'm at after analyzing everything I've seen is that Joe Biden was clearly involved and that Dan Goldman is essentially full of you-know-what. And I think that's putting it nicely. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. You know that we would love to have you here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.